Hi everyone, good afternoon to all of you. Please let me know if I'm busy before we begin. Good. So those who don't know, I am Niharika John Mehra and मैं इंग्लिश पढ़ा कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम के लिए ऑब्जेक्टिव डिस्क्रिप्टिव दोनों एंड आई हैव कोर्सेज ऑन क्रैक ग्रेड पी प्लेटफॉर्म जो कि स्पेसिफिक एग्जाम्स के लिए कोर्सेज हैं. आई हैव क्लासेस हियर. आपको मेरी प्लेलिस्ट मिल जाएगी. डू चेक इट आउट. ओके. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस हमारा एक कोर्स है यूपीएससी सी सैट के लिए दैट इज स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम 7th. Earlier it was some other date, but abhi 7 se kal se shuru. So guys, please make sure that you do check out that course. And yes, that's all about it. Description में आपको link मिल जाएगी. I'm still waiting for some confirmation. I know कि आवाज और video proper होगा, but if you can simply help me कि मैम सब बराबर है, then it would really help me. All good. Thank you so much. So, reading comprehension an important part of any competitive exam जिसमें English पूछी जा रही है. And these are the questions CSAT के जो कि काफ़ी understand करके attempt करने वाले होते हैं. It's not just कि हम एक direct information जो है we can figure it out and वो मिल जाएगी and सब बढ़िया है. It's not that easy, but yes, केयरफुली करोगे तो बन जाएंगे. कुछ भी उसमें इस टाइप का बहुत कठिन नहीं होता है. So here we are gonna start with this question. These are all previous year's questions, so you can get a better idea of what type of questions, level of questions are. आपको आंसर यहाँ कमेंट में देना है, चैट में देना है. ओके. ओके. यहाँ पे एक लिंक, एक चेन की तरह ऑथर ने बात करी है. ओके. आंसर हियर इज डी. ओके. फर्स्ट, कभी भी क्रक्स पूछा जाता है, दैट इज द एसेंस ऑफ whatever is written over here, वो आपको समझना है. Essence could be somewhere where everything sums up to one thing. It could be towards conclusion. It depends on what are the options given to you. Okay. With steady economic growth, higher literacy, increasing skill levels, the number of Indian middle class families has gone up. So this number has gone up. A simple information. Direct results of the affluence have been changes in dietary patterns and energy consumption levels. So changes किसमें हैं? Dietary patterns and energy consumption में. People have moved to higher protein based diet, like all these things that need significantly more water to produce than cereal based diets. Okay, so there is a need, there is the need of more water. Increasing use of electronic gadgets, motor vehicles needs more and more energy, and generation of energy needs water. So there are two things. Okay, first piece of data is not that much important. It simply tells us that middle class families का number ऊपर चला गया है. Later on, we see changes are there in dietary pattern and energy consumption, and both the things are linked with how much water, significant amount of water is required. So, water management practices in India need to change dramatically in the coming years. This is the lesson we get to learn. Diet को भी relate करा है water से, and the other thing that is the energy consumption that also requires water, and that's why we have to work on the water part of the whole cycle or whatever we get over here. Okay, other options. People should be persuaded to continue with the mainly Indian traditional cereal based diets. That is just one thing. Why would we want them not to eat better? So this is irrelevant. India needs to focus on developing agriculture productivity and capacity for more energy generation in coming years. There is no problem of capacity. Okay, it's not like that. Also, the pattern has changed where people have moved to protein based diet. That does this that will not help us if agriculture productivity is increased. People are still inclined towards taking milk, fish, meat. So that's why this is wrong. Modern technological developments result in change of cultural and social behavior. इसके बारे में बात नहीं करी है यहाँ पे. Okay, so that's why this is out of your passage, because the crux is as assumption का question नहीं है. Anything outside the passage cannot be your answer. आपका आंसर है D. This is only like two liner passage, छोटा सा बिल्कुल. करो इसे. Okay, let's see. Yes, only two lines, but we have to check if I refer to these two statements, which of the following statements are correct. Means if this is going in this direction, these two also should go in this direction. Okay, they should have the same tone. So first half, the social order is sacred right, which is the basis of all other rights. Social right is a sacred right. Nevertheless, contrast. This right does not come from nature that and must therefore be founded, should have foundation on conventions. That means there has to be some protocol for it. It's not there already existing, innate nahi hota. So conventions are the sources of rights of men. Yes, because we see that author is saying this right does not come from nature and we have to figure it out based on conventions. So yes, actual source is this: the rights of man can be exercised only when there is a social order. Okay. Yes, we can consider this. Yeah, only is an extreme word. Okay. Here you get to see that there is now the action that is to be performed. Exercising it means acting on it, and that happens because there is a social order. So it's a sacred right which is the basis of all other rights. All आपको यहाँ passage में ही दे दिया है. That means if I want to exercise any right, it has to be under the umbrella of social order. So that's why both first and the second one. Am I clear on this one? Understood? Any doubt? Slightly tricky, but interesting. Move on to the next one. There is a conclusion you can draw from the previous question that even though it was the shortest question I think till now, but उतना ही उसका language complex होगा. It will challenge you and you need to be very careful while answering something that looks, oh, it could be that easy because it's so small, it's so short. Sorry. So what rest of you? It's very clearly mentioned. Scientific research is probably never completely valueless, and earlier we get to see that the universities have encouraged research not only in the cases where research is necessary, but on all sorts of entirely unprofitable subjects. So basically, author is assuming that whatever research takes place We cannot say it's completely valueless. It will have little value, it will have less value, maybe some will have more value, but there will be a value. So it is never without some value. That means it has some or the other value. आप language समझ गए होगे यहाँ पर. It is very valuable is not what my author is saying here. Okay, it is sometimes very valuable. No, it is never very valuable. This is opposite altogether. So again, scientific research is probably never valueless. This is negative, never. Valueless is negative. तो नेगेटिव कैसा होता है आपके मैथ्स में? नेगेटिव नेगेटिव बिकम्स पॉजिटिव, राइट? तो इट्स एक्चुअली हैविंग सम वैल्यू. इसी बात को दूसरे तरीके से बोलूं, सेइंग द सेम थिंग इन अदर वे इज दैट इट इज नेवर without some value. So this is negative, this is also negative, becomes positive in tone. Come on, be quick. It's a direct question, guys. Yeah. Again, there is a language play. आपको जो info है वो तो मिल रही है. Now just you have to focus on the language. So according to the author, not many research results can be of value, okay, to intelligent investigator. Result is always valuable. Any research result can be of value. There is a possibility. A research result must always be of some value. So now it's about how much knowledge of these words grammatically, you have. So here, if you see, it says, however silly and insignificant it may seem, however mechanical and unintelligent, there is always a chance. Which word here matches to this chance? I have highlighted the and underlined the important words. Okay, so a chance अगर बोल रहा है passage में, there is always a chance that the results may be of value to investigator of talent. तो chance के लिए which option now seems correct? पढ़ो. Not many results can be, but ऐसा तो नहीं बोल रहा है. There is always a chance. Positive है तो A तो हटा देंगे हम, है ना? At least A हटा दें. D says a research result must always be of some value. Always be of some value, again chance word की वजह से नहीं कर सकते. Very good. The answer is D. Can be. Now whenever you use can, it talks about a possibility, ability किसी की. It talks about capacity of someone. You can get full score. I have a chance to get full score. So because of that language, answer is C. I hope now अभी आप लोग थोड़ा ध्यान से पढ़ोगे नेक्स्ट टाइम से ऐसे वाले जो क्वेश्चंस होते हैं. नेक्स्ट वन. Anyone else? Yes, answer is C. How best can the problems of floods, etc., be addressed in this context? One important point that needs to be noted is India gets too much water, and in like about 75% in 120 days, and remaining may too little. So this pattern is mentioned here, where in fewer days we get more amount, and then there is other days remaining of the year where we get too little. So there is a pattern of uneven amount of water that we receive. This skewed water availability has to be managed and regulated for its consumption throughout the year. So these two were the keywords. अब ये कैसे होगा? Buffer stocking करेंगे through dams, recharging aquifers, right? So this was very logical. Constructing concrete storage tanks and canals across the country doesn't is this practical and lasting? No, not everywhere we are able to, or maybe it requires a lot of investment. Changing the cropping patterns, it's again something rational nahi bolenge. Interlinking the rivers across the country, that can help with flooding, but how about lasting solution where we want to manage and regulate? So best option was D. Exactly. And even the storage tanks, it won't give us the amount that is required. So these were the questions of 2022. Now we are moving to the questions that were asked in 2021. because these questions are directly taken from the question paper. थोड़ा सा आपको ये एक दो क्वेश्चन में ब्लरी दिख सकता है, बट आई थिंक यू आर एबल टू रीड. एक बार मुझे बताओ इफ दैट्स ओके विथ यू. पढ़ते बन रहा है आपको? रीडेबल, लेजिबल है? You are asked here, which of the following statements best reflects the most critical inference that can be made from the passage? Inference is, again, you take a point, an information, a piece of information from the passage. And based on that, what all you can understand, like reading between the lines, hidden meaning, that is your answer. So let's first read what is given in the passage. Researchers simulate street lighting on artificial grassland plots, and these plots have PFIs, sap-sucking insects. Okay, so there is a research going on. These were exposed to two different types of light, a white light and amber light, similar to the street lamps. Okay, the low intensity amber light was shown to inhibit rather than induce flowering in a wild plant of pea family, which is a source of food for the aphids in grasslands. So this low intensity light amber light which we are talking about, that is similar to street lamps, that was shown to inhibit, रोक रही है वो उसको. Okay, the number of aphids was suppressed significantly under the light treatment due to limited amount of food available. तो अब मुझे इसको पढ़ के बताओ that these street lights, amber lights, which are similar to street lights, street lamps, these are helping in the ecosystem of the ecosystem. Why? Because if flowering is not there, वो insects वहाँ पर आएंगे नहीं और फिर वो मर जाएंगे. They will not have anything to eat. So this ecosystem is supported or not supported by the street lamps? It's not supported. So light pollution can have a permanent adverse impact on an ecosystem. This is light pollution using sodium street lamps, which is not helping suppressing the number of these insects, and that's how we get to know B is the answer. Let's discuss option number D. Proper intensity of light in an ecosystem is important, not only for plants but for animals too. See, this proper intensity of light is something, if my passage would have been elaborated more, then I could have thought taking some more points. But right now, I need to infer in a critical manner based on the only information I have here. Okay, so proper intensity of light in an ecosystem, author is not talking about anything about which kind of intensity will give us what kind of perfection in the ecosystem. Instead, we get to see in the passage it's about where there is a problem. Okay, there is a problem addressed, and the problem is of these sodium street lamps, amber light, which is not helping an ecosystem. So my inference is also going to be somewhere where I find the similar tone which is there in B, कि आपको यहाँ पे भी मिल रहा है कि light pollution can have permanent impact, adverse impact on an ecosystem, just like यहाँ पे significantly suppress हुआ. That's the reason B is somewhere around what we have here, but not exactly as per the passage. So that's out. White light is better for the flowering of plants as compared to the light of other colors. We don't know, because white light is versus amber light. That's what is happening in the passage. So saying that other colors, all other colors, it's not correct. Low intensity light has more adverse effect as compared to high. Again, we don't have enough data to support A point. Anyone else? Assumption का question. Assume something. So first, better read the passage, understand the theme and the tone, and then go through the options. They should be in the same way जो passage लिखा गया है. Okay. So passage बोलता है. Approximately 80% of all flowering plant species are pollinated by animals, including birds, mammals, but the main pollinators are insects. Basically, pollinators are important for plants. Pollination is responsible for providing us with a wide variety as well as many plant-derived medicines. Pollination is important. Second line ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं. At least 1/3 of world's agricultural crops depend upon pollination. A huge part depends upon. These are the most dominant taxa when it comes to pollination, and they are crucial to more than 400 crops. So bees का example दिया. Pollination is an essential service that is the result of intricate relationships between plant and animal. Pollination कैसे होता है वो बताया है, and reduction important or loss of either means plants को problem हुआ, नुकसान पहुंचा, या animals को नुकसान पहुंचा. It will affect the survival of both. They are interdependent. Effective pollination requires resources such as refuges of pristine natural vegetation. Now, we get to see that all the information is here about pollination and how the pollinator and the crop both are equally important to each other. On the basis of this, can I say sustainable production of India's cereal food grain is impossible without diversity of pollinating animals? Three things here. First of all, cereal food grains ka production. Okay, let's assume that there is one food grain only. We want to sustain that. But that sustenance is impossible without bringing diversity. So I don't have any basis here now. Even we know that pollination is important. But this is talking about bringing diversity in pollinating animals. And that does not go with what we have here. Monoculture, that means growing just one kind of food item, that crop. Monoculture of horticultural crops hampers the survival of insects. Is it this? This could be the reason that if because there is just one type of crop, that's the reason where because of this survival of insects is hampered. It's not happening as it should. No, blaming monoculture alone cannot be assumed. Pollinators become scarce in cultivated areas devoid of natural vegetation. Of course, this is going to be something that is true. I can assume. Why? Because pollinators, they require vegetation, and cultivated areas, already cultivated areas जो हैं, now there is natural vegetation is not found there, and that's why pollinators वहाँ पर कम हो जाते हैं. Here the relationship, the balance is off. Okay, it is reduced, and that's why this is true. Diversity in insects, diversity induces diversity of plants. That is also true. जितना डाइवर्स इंसेक्ट होगा उतना पॉलिनेशन भी अलग अलग प्रकार का होगा. So this goes with the tone of what we get to see here about pollination. Answer is D, third and fourth only. Okay. Finest can also participate in answering. You need to again figure out the crux, that means essence of your passage. Let's first read the passage. There was a study that was conducted on the impacts of climate change over Kaveri Basin of Tamil Nadu using climate models showed an increasing trend for maximum minimum temperatures and a decrease in number of rainy days. These shifts will have an impact on hydrological cycles in the region. So जो water related cycles है, water cycle है, led to more runoff and less recharge and affect the groundwater tables. Everything is getting affected. Further, there has been an increase in frequency of droughts in the state, and this has driven farmers to increase dependency on groundwater resources to secure their crops. तो एक प्रॉब्लम को डिस्कस करा. Development of regional climate models helps in choosing climate smart agricultural practices. Author has mentioned what this study helped us to understand. We cannot conclude that if we develop climate models region wise, it is going to help. How you are going to control everything that relates with the climate? You cannot control it. So, इनको develop करके भी we can't do much about it. Heavy dependence on groundwater resources can be reduced by adopting dry land cropping systems. My author has not suggested that let's do this, this will help us better, it requires less water. So, B also cannot be my answer. Crux is always from the passage, it is not assumption. Climate changes increase the criticality of water resources while threatening it. This is what is happening. Water, there are droughts that we got to see, more runoff and less recharge. So threaten bhi ho raha hai. Water level, water resources get to see in a critical state. Yes, that's my answer. Climate changes cause the farmers to adopt unsustainable livelihoods. So, passage is again not about the farmers, how climate change is impacting water availability or water cycle, water resource. That's what my passage is talking about. That's why D भी यहाँ पर नहीं हो सकता. Is your answer. Come on, you should not take this much of assumptions का question है. चलो ले लो time पर assume करो. Give me the answer. See, first of all, थोड़ा सा medical zone में जा रहा है ये, which makes it little harder for many to understand. But don't get lost in terms. Okay, so BPA को BPA पढ़ो. Don't go with bisphenol A ऐसे करके, so you will waste your time there. Okay, just read it in a rough manner because आपको skimming करनी है. Your question is about assumption. So if anything here is true and anything is true in 1, 2, 3, what true similarly true in 1, 2, 3 is going to be your answer. The researchers were able to use stem cells to gauge the neurotoxic effects, some effects of the environmental pollutant BP. They used a combination of cell-based assays, biochemical assays to examine gene profile during the differentiation of stem cells upon treatment with this. What they did is explained from here till in fact later on. A compound known, now what is this? This is a compound known to cause heart disease, etc. तो आपको करा क्या उन्होंने, what was the process of their research? This is mentioned here. Now the result. They were able to detect and measure BPA toxicity towards the proper specification of germ layers such as जो भी endoderm, ectoderm हो, and the establishment of neural progenitor cells. आपको यहाँ पे इन words की meaning पता होने की need बिल्कुल नहीं है. You can understand that they tested something and yes, it's harmful. Okay, let's see what my assumption, the question says. It says BPA may alter embryonic development in vivo. So here we get to see yes, that's what is happening. If you go with the terms which are mentioned here, differentiation of mouse embryonic stem cells upon the treatment with BPA. So we got to see there were some changes. Changes means it altered. So yes, this assumption is true based on the passage. Biochemical and cell-based assays are useful in finding out treatments for pollution-induced diseases. They have specified diseases over here. Yes, assays are useful. This option is like half right, half wrong. Okay. So biochemical, cell-based assays are useful because these researchers, they use these assays, right? But they are useful in finding out treatments for pollution-induced diseases. That's not something that we get to see. Okay. Uh, and that's why this is wrong. Got it? I hope this much is clear. Embryonic stem cells could serve as a model to evaluate the physiological effects of environmental pollutants. Okay, what is environmental pollutant? One of them is BPA. Okay, this is what we are getting to see. Physiological, that relates to neuro. Okay, physiological means हमारे जो motor skills हैं उससे related. Neuro talks about the same. Our whole neuro system helps us in our motor skills. So yes, थोड़ा सा आपको जो knowledge है यहाँ पे you can use that. Embryonic stem cells जो है they are getting affected because of which abnormalities are taking place, and yeah, that's why this is also something I can assume C is your answer. Now it is clear. I hope there is no more confusion. Again, another assumption question. Here the language is easier. I hope you get it right. While reading, you are able to understand most of the. At the end, I forget what is going the passage. Okay. Try to concentrate on keywords. I mean, if you are able to draw one thought from one statement or one thought collectively from two, three statements, keep that thought in your mind. I'll explain you while I read this passage, okay? So that will help you more. I'll try to demonstrate it. That will help. Anyone? Answer karo fatafat. Chalo. So you have to assume something, okay? Assumption ka question hai, that means it can be something that is outside the passage but based on the passage, okay? Now fig trees, I don't need to remember that it's called genus ficus. That's the scientific name. So it's okay for me to just remember fig trees are considered sacred. Fig trees are important. All these places are there. Okay, I don't need to remember the names of the places. They are common in agriculture and urban landscapes. So they are commonly found. Second thing I need to just keep in my mind, they're important, they are sacred, they are common. In natural forests, fig trees provide food for wildlife when other resources are scarce and support a high density and diversity of frugivores. These are fruit eating animals. So basically, from the second statement, what do we get to understand? Fig trees are super important, especially for fruit eating animals. Okay? If frugivorous birds and bats continue to visit fig trees located in sites with high human disturbance, sacred uh, uh, fig trees may promote frugivore abundance. So, if the birds and bats continue, then abundance could be there. under favorable microclimate, plenty of seedlings of other tree species would grow around fig tree. तो यहाँ पे फिग ट्रीज के अराउंड और भी वेजिटेशन होगा. बेसिकली फिग ट्रीज आर हेल्पिंग अस लॉट इन मल्टीपल वेज. तो यू नीड टू include 2-3 statements or one statement in just 1-2 words in your mind. एक एक all over idea आपको मन में रखना है. Now first one, fig trees can often be keystone species in natural forest. Yes, because it's helping so many other fruit eating animals. Okay, so yes, this is true. I can assume it's a keystone species. It's providing food for wildlife when other resources are scarce. They are less in number, and that's why keystone species is true. Fig trees can grow where other large woody species cannot grow. Something I cannot assume because it's not clear that because other species cannot grow, that's exactly the location where fig trees can grow. Enough data is not there to support this statement. Cigarette trees can have a role in biodiversity conservation. See, conservation is happening, it's providing food, and then other species, other tree species are also growing. This is true. Fig trees have a role in the seed dispersal of other tree species. Again, under favorable microclimate, other seedlings of other trees can also grow up around fig trees, and that's why you have answer one. Times you should just have an overall idea. You may need to read your passage 2 to 3 times in some cases, which is absolutely fine. Nobody is gonna judge you for reading a passage twice. It's okay, sometimes it's required. Question tough hoga to. But keep practicing this way where you are able to summarize the passages in your mind, and then you read the question and accordingly आप उसको answer करो. Okay, more practice will help you in this case. So that's it for today. Thank you so much, all of you. Most probably from tomorrow, we will have our classes under the course that we have on the platform. So we'll let you know. If you have not subscribed the channel, subscribe it so you get all the updates about all the other classes along with my class over here. And like और share करके ज़रूर जाइएगा वीडियो को. Take care all of you. Bye.